Welcome to the latest update of the White Knight Theater case. The Los Angeles Police Department has admitted to numerous procedural violations at the crime scene. More than one person was at the crime scene that night. When you hear the police admit that O.J. Simpson's sample was once taken back, are you sure you've never used the word nigger? Is this relevant to the case? Prosecutor Marcia and Detective Mark Furman thus made their appearance under Darden's questioning. Furman also knew that his moment in the spotlight was hard-earned, and he had to seize it without exposing any flaws. Would he succeed? I am Mark Furman, and I swear by name that all my testimonies in court are true and credible, with no falsehoods. Detective Furman, how do you feel about testifying in court today? Nervous? Reluctant? Why do I notice that most of the previous questioning of other detectives focused not on evidence and facts? Since June 13th, the day after the crime, my colleagues and I found a large amount of evidence at the crime scene. All of it was ignored, while many personal issues were put on the table for discussion. I couldn't agree more. Could Detective Furman tell us what you saw when you first arrived at the Bundy Drive scene? After I arrived at the scene, I first met with Officer Risk, who was the first to arrive after the crime. He then took me into the crime scene. We found the female victim, poor Nicole, at the bottom of the tiled steps, with a large amount of blood beneath her. After that, Officer Risk shone his flashlight around. What did you see? First, there was the male victim, Goldman, by the fence on the right side of the yard. There were also several items on the ground around the victim, including a bloody glove. After observing for a while, we walked towards the back door, preparing to enter the house through it, because the front door was covered in the victim's blood. We didn't want to compromise the integrity of the scene or the blood evidence to be collected. It's clear that you have a lot of experience dealing with crime scenes like this. Usually, we are very careful and meticulous when handling a murder scene, and we proceed cautiously according to the proper procedures. So, what did you see when you walked toward the back door of the Bundy Drive house? There were bloodied shoe prints all the way from near the female victim to the back door. When I got to the back door, I noticed some blood around the inside handle of the door, and then I saw what appeared to be a bloody fingerprint on the doorknob. What were you thinking at that moment? The same as any detective would think, that someone had fled the scene bleeding, and that person was likely the perpetrator. In court, Prosecutor Marcia guided Detective Furman to recount his discoveries at the Bundy Drive crime scene the day after the crime. Furman was exceptionally composed, answering all of Marcia's questions in the simplest and most understandable terms. The jurors nodded along, leaving a good first impression of the handsome and tough-looking Detective Furman. Afterward, Furman began to describe why the detectives went to the Rockingham crime scene and the process of their actions. So you discovered that the crime victims were related to the celebrity O.J. Simpson. You and Detectives Vaniter and Lang decided to go to Rockingham to notify the victim's ex-husband. Is that correct? Yes. After we arrived at Rockingham, Detective Vaniter tried to contact someone inside the house, but there was no response. What were you doing at that time? I observed the surroundings and noticed a white Mustang parked nearby. Why did you pay attention to that car, and what did you do next? Because the parking space was large, but the car was parked oddly, crookedly, as if the driver had encountered an emergency and was forced to park there temporarily. So I walked over to the car, shone my flashlight inside, and wanted to see if anyone was inside. Immediately, I saw a bloodstain on the driver's side door. After that, did you look inside the car? Yes, there was a package with a shipping label inside the car, addressed to O.J. Simpson. I informed Detectives Vaniter and Lang of my findings. Since there was still no response from inside, we discussed and worried that Mr. Simpson might be in danger, injured, and unable to open the door, or that something even worse had happened. It all made sense. What actions did you take out of reasonable concern? I climbed over the fence into the yard and went to the front. After opening the gate, we found Mr. Simpson's tenant, Mr. Kalin, in a bungalow at the back of the house. Furman skillfully responded to the defense's previous questioning, reasonably explaining that the detective's entry into the Rockingham scene was procedural and that their actions were predicated on ensuring Simpson's safety, rather than investigating him as a preconceived suspect. Far away in Connecticut, Dr. Lee, who was listening to the trial, revealed a subtle smile after hearing Marcia's questioning of Furman. Dr. Liu, the prosecution is likely to submit the glove as evidence. They want to make a decisive move here. The defense may also be well prepared. The key to the glove lies with Furman. If the defense lawyers first plant a doubt in the jury's mind, making them distrust the glove evidence, its effectiveness will be greatly reduced. You need to first answer a question. Why would Furman frame Simpson? What if Furman really is racist? Suppose he believes Simpson was the murderer of Nicole, but the evidence found at the Bundy Drive scene was insufficient, so he brought one of the gloves found there to Simpson's house. Even if Furman is indeed racist, I'm not sure this reason alone would justify such an extreme action. In Los Angeles, led by F. Lee Bailey, the investigation into Furman has recently made further progress. The defense's dedicated hotline has received multiple tips about Furman, revealing that the veteran detective has made many extremely racist remarks. Around 1985, Furman once said that if he saw a black man in a car with a white woman, he would pull them over. Even without a reason to order a stop, he would fabricate one. You might not believe this, but as a lawyer, I have also been pulled over without any violation with my child in the car. For us black people, encountering such things in Los Angeles is all too common. In the subsequent trial segment, under the watchful eyes of tens of millions of viewers nationwide, Marcia introduced the most critical piece of evidence in this case. Detective Furman, were these photos displayed on the whiteboard taken by you? Yes, I took these photos while I was examining the area around Kalen's residence. The photo shows a glove that I found at the scene. Could you briefly describe how you found a glove? It was around 6 in the morning, and I decided to walk around the area surrounding Kalen's bungalow. I first went to the end of the driveway, but found nothing, so I turned back towards Kalen's room. During this process, I discovered a dark and narrow alley between the bungalow and the wire fence. I walked a few steps into it and found a suspicious object. It later turned out to be a bloodied glove. What did you do after you found the glove? I walked up to the glove, stared at it, and observed it for a while. Did you touch the glove? No. We didn't have any tools to collect or handle evidence with us at the time, so I just observed its size and appearance from the side. Can you describe the condition of the glove when you found it? It looked a bit damp, with some dark, sticky substance on it that appeared to be blood. What connection does this glove have to the murders on Bundy Drive? We later confirmed that it was a matching pair to the glove found at the Bundy Drive crime scene, the one that was dropped next to Goldman's body. One glove was found at the murder scene on Bundy Drive, and a matching one was found in the backyard of Simpson's residence at Rockingham. Both gloves had blood, hair, and fibers on them. Subsequent tests confirmed that the blood mixture on both gloves came from the two victims of this case and the suspect, O.J. Simpson, who is sitting right here in front of us. Blood from all three individuals was found on the gloves.